Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Packernet Podcast. I am your host and resident fanalist as... Really? For the intro? Somebody's at the front door for the intro. Okay, that's fine. Miss Alexa's very excited about getting in on this podcast today. And I don't know why we're getting all that feedbacky, windy noise. Let me see if I can fix that. I don't know what's causing that. Hopefully we can kind of get that to chill out a little bit. I gotta ground out this cable or something stupid. All right. Victory Monday, folks. Victory Monday, and it smells so sweet. Sure, we could complain about some stuff if we wanted to, and we'll probably get to that in a little bit, but are you not tired of it? Oh, here we go. Here we go. After 2 straight weeks, are we not ready for some positivity? I'm positively ready for positivity. And from my perspective, this was a best case scenario. Packers win. I think they were the best team pretty much for 4 quarters. They win by 7 and not enough to cover the spread, which means I'm a wealthy man. Which means, I have some money in this account. Well, let's do this. Let's go through some of the stats of the game. First of all, Jordan Love was 13 of 24 for 174 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 105.2 passer rating. It's another game where the stats, especially the passing yards, are certainly not fantastic. His completion percentage is really quite low, but if you watch the game, you kind of understand a good portion of that. First of all, 7.2 yards per attempt is not terrible. It just means the attempts were relatively low, and that has to do, number one, with the fact that we committed to the run, which is a good thing because it was working today and it was necessary, and also the other team not really coming off the field very much. So it just led to a lot of, or not a lot of opportunities for the offense in general as far as the passing is concerned. And then as far as the completion percentage, well, by golly gee, if there weren't several drops in this game. I'm not convinced there weren't as many drops as there were receptions. Also had Malik Willis in the game for a little bit. He was 2 for 2 for 6 yards and a touchdown. 5 yards was his longest pass. Jordan's was 33. Malik Willis with a 118.8 passer rating. Jameis, despite all the screeching that our defense was terrible, was 19 of 29 for 201 yards, 6.9 yards per attempt, 0 touchdowns, and 1 interception. And if it wasn't for all the dropped interceptions, I think the Giants would have scored about negative 40 points. So, as for running the ball, Jordan Love, 2 carries, 7 yards, 3.5 yards per attempt. Emmanuel Wilson had 11 for 40 yards, 3.6 yards per attempt, and a touchdown. Josh Jacobs, 7 carries, 40 yards, 5.7 yards per attempt, which is another thing that's kind of interesting. Again, a lot of people's gut reactions are to just start saying stuff and lashing out and all this crazy stuff. And that's Emmanuel Wilson is so much better than Josh Jacobs. They both had 40 yards. Emmanuel Wilson, it took 11 carries. Josh Jacobs was 7. 3.6 yards per carry compared to 5.7. I don't know where we're getting these things from. Longest carry Emmanuel Wilson had was 11 yards. Josh Jacobs' longest carry was 15 yards. So I don't understand what people are talking about. Malik Willis had 1 carry for 16 yards. Bo Melton had 1 for 17. Chris Brooks had 1 for 8. I do find it also funny that I don't know that this game could have gone any worse for Packer fans insofar as like them being proven wrong about everything. Whether it's Havrasik or passing instead of running, or the end-around jet sweep stuff. I mean, that stuff was working. Running the ball was working. Havrasik was not. If you just did the opposite of what fans have been screeching for about 2 weeks, then you succeed and win the game. Tyrone Tracy ran for 4.6 yards per attempt. Devin Singletary just 2.8. Again, the idea that our defense was somehow terrible. I mean, none of that is massively impressive. As for the receivers, Romeo Doubs, 8 targets, 4 receptions, 53 yards. I will continue to say what I've been saying for a long time. I don't know why we refuse to accept the fact that Romeo is not our number 1 receiver, but we're not going to change on that, I guess. He is our ex-receiver, and that's just the way it is. And unless and until he is gone next year, that's just the way it's going to stay. After that, Christian Watson, 5 targets, 4 receptions, 46 yards, 9.2 yards per target, 11.5 yards per reception, and 2 touchdowns. Next most targeted was Matthew Golden, 3 targets, 1 reception, which doesn't sound great, except for the part that 1 was a reception, 1 was underthrown, he fought back for and was a 35-yard penalty against Golden, meaning it wasn't anything that he did wrong. The other one, I honestly have no idea what happened. It's one of those depth perception things. I'm so confused. I can't tell if it was uncatchable or if he just didn't see it, or I don't know what happened. I don't think it was thrown where he was. It looked like it went out of bounds, but I can't tell. Then Dontavian Wicks, 2 targets, 1 reception, 9 yards, an additional drop. Luke Musgrave had about the worst game I think I've ever seen a person have. 2 targets, 1 reception, -1 yard, and 2 fumbles. I don't know how that's even possible. Then, let's see, Emmanuel Wilson, Josh Wiley, Savion Williams, Josh Jacobs, and John Fitzpatrick, all with 1 target. Everybody to very different results. Fitzpatrick had 1 reception for 5 yards. Jacobs did not catch his 1 target. Wiley was 2 yards, but a touchdown. Wilson's was 9 yards, and then Mr. Savion, his only target was Jordan Love just like hero balling it. Like, this is it. I just got to throw a 50-50 because he's the only guy I can see, and I'm about to get sacked. And Savion with a beautiful play, using his big body, his big frame to kind of get a little separation there, laid hands and catch that thing. Just fantastic work. I remain a big fan of his. The biggest game anybody on the other side had was Isaiah Hodgins, who had 5 receptions for 57 yards and 0 touchdowns. On defense, the number 1 tackler was Isaiah McDuffie. Sacks, they had Parsons at 1.5, McDuffie at 0.5. Tackles for a loss, Cooper with just 1, should have been 2, but instead that went for 20 yards and a first down. Forced fumbles, Micah Parsons with 1. Interceptions, Evan Williams, and then pass deflections, Williams with 1, Keyshawn with 2, Bullard with 1, McKinney with 1. Havrasik on the day was 0 field goal attempts and was 1 for 3 on extra points. I understand that the conditions sucked, and that second miss might have been less on him and more to do with a combination of wind and kicking the laces, I guess. But still, 1 for 3 on extra points. Everybody wants our starting kicker fired, even though he's playing injured and on bad field conditions. But what, Havrasik gets all the excuses? Give me a break. Bo Melton, for some reason, was our starting kick returner. I don't know why. I don't understand that. I feel like Savion has done a phenomenal job. He's always done a good job. Just let him do his job. Bo Melton is our kick returner for 2 of those. And I understand sometimes you have 2 guys back. I don't know if that was the case every time, but Bo had 2 returns for 37 yards, 18.5 yards per reception. Savion had 1 for 33 yards. So in about 1 return, he matched what Bo did in 2. And our punter, Mr. Whelan Whalen, 4 punts, 195 yards, 48.8 average, 2 kicks inside the 20, 61 yards was his longest. He was phenomenal today. Looking at team stats, the Giants dominated time of possession, 35, almost 36 minutes to 24. They ran 69 plays to our 51. They got 336 yards to our 296, and that's where the yards per play comes in. They were held to just 4.9, where the Packers had nearly 6. Penalties, the Packers cleaned it up quite a bit, only 5 penalties in this game. The Giants had 6. Penalty yards, 48 compared to 77 for them. Turnovers, another big story of the game. We turned it over. We got the ball twice. They took it away 0 times. Completion percentage, they were at 66%. We were at 57.7%. Passing yards, 194 to 168 for us. Yards per attempt, they had 6.7. We had 6.5. Passing touchdowns, again, where it matters, we had 3. They had 0. Interceptions, another one that matters. We had 0. They had 1. Sacks, both teams took 2. As a percentage, Jameis was sacked 6.5% of the time. Packers quarterback sacked 7.1% of the time. Passer rating, Jameis 70.2, Packers 115.5. Carries, they ran the ball 38 times for 142 yards. We got to 128 in 23 attempts. Their team averaged 3.7 yards per attempt. We averaged 5.6. First downs, they had 22 to our 19. Third down efficiency, they were at 50%. We were at 64%, 7 of 11. They were 7 of 14. Fourth downs, we didn't attempt any. They were 3 for 4. That one was pretty brutal. Red zone, they were 60%, 3 of 5. We were 100%, 4 of 4. Pass deflections, both teams had 5. Forced fumbles, each team had 1. And that's about it for the overall stats. Real quick look at this PFF recap. Oh, here we go again. They put a couple extra little stats in here for us. Average plays per drive. The Giants had 7.8 plays per drive. We had 7. Yards per drive, they were at 34.7. We were at 32.2. Points per drive, what matters, they were at 2. We were at 2.8. That's the trade-off that you're looking for. That's where the Packers have been on the wrong side of that for too long, where it's like you're the better team, but you're not converting where it matters. Third downs, interceptions, red zone. Red zone possessions, 4 compared to 5 that they had. We touched on, I think, the rest of this stuff for the red zone. Looking at rushing, the Green Bay Packers running today had an EPA of .18. That is 93rd percentile for the record. In other words, they were very, very good on the ground. The Giants were at .08. That's still 84th percentile. So look, the Packers needed to be able to come into this game and run the ball against this defense. You just have to. They're very bad at stopping it. You have to be able to do it, and they did it. Got to be happy about it. Yards before contact, Packers are at 2.3 compared to the Giants at 1. Yards after contact, Packers 2.9, Giants 2.8. Packers were just better on the ground in both phases, run blocking and running. Explosive runs, Packers had 4, Giants had 2. Yards on explosive plays, Packers 59, Giants 27. Missed tackles forced, that was a big one for the Giants. They had 11, we had just 2. It's probably a function of some rough tackling in a couple spots. Then you look at passing, EPA. The Giants had a positive .19, 68th percentile. Packers, .32, 81st percentile. Adjusted completion rate. Remember, I had mentioned how bad his completion rate was. It was probably around 50% or 55, whatever is bad. Jameis Winston, 69%. Jordan Love, 82%. That's very good. Jordan looked good today. We'll get into all that, but maybe was a little shaky early. I don't really fully remember. I know it was frustrating in general, the offense. I don't specifically remember Jordan upsetting me, but just based on, I really hope he's not just uncomfortable the rest of the year. He bounced back this week and he looked comfortable. I didn't see him dropping his eyes and starting to panic and stuff. It didn't always go somewhere, whether guys just weren't getting open a lot, which I know at least the announcers seem to think that was the case, or just the offensive line just completely collapsing. Either way, he kept his eyes downfield as long as was necessary and tried to make whatever play he could. That in and of itself is a massive win. And then to come out and put up 82% as a completion rate, well, I shouldn't say Jordan specifically, but we're only talking, 2 completions for Malik or something? Doesn't move the needle that much. Dropped passes, and I know PFF is very generous to the wide receivers here, and they always are. They have the Giants for 1, the Packers for 3. So I guess some of those were high difficulty receptions that they're not calling drops. Batted passes, Packers had 1 against them. Hit as he throws, Packers 2, Giants 0. Throwaways, Packers 1, Giants 0. Missed tackles forced on passing plays, both teams 2. Average depth of target, Giants 7.7, Packers 12.6. And again, this is where the frustration comes in. And I know some of it was some sloppy play. There were a couple mistakes, a lot of dropped interceptions, some missed tackles, etc. But this is the point. Teams will not try to take shots against the Packers, and it is working. Whether you want to acknowledge it or not, it is working. Teams are not scoring a lot of points against the Packers. They took like 1 shot and Keyshawn nearly picked it off, and they were like, okay, we're not doing that anymore. And next week's team, the Vikings, they're going to see that as well. They're going to see, well, what happens when you push the ball down the field? Oh, crap, never mind. It ain't great, Bob. I know it's not as fun and exciting, and it can be frustrating and all that, but, I mean, when you just look at the numbers, I mean, teams are just not doing anything. They're not taking big chunk plays. They're not, and the point is eventually you're going to make a mistake or something, and that, first of all, that is happening because they're not ending with points. Second of all, look how many mistakes they did make that we just didn't capitalize on, like catching those interceptions. Again, I mean, they score on the opening drive, which apparently the Giants had done that 5 times this year already. So that's kind of a common thing for the Giants all year. Outside of that, they didn't really do much. And I don't know how much more they're going to score if the Packers actually grab those interceptions. Yards lost on drops, by the way. Giants 3, Packers 32. Despite that, explosive passing plays 15 plus, Giants 4, Packers 5. Yards on explosive passes, Giants 80, Packers 111. Deep attempts 20 plus yards, Giants 3, Packers 5. Deep completions, Giants 1. 1 pass completed beyond 20 yards. I mean, it's just hard to win football games like that. Packers had 3 yards on deep completions. Giants exactly 20. So he was caught and brought down at the 20, at 20 yards. Packers 73. Pressures allowed. Packers 19, Giants 12. That's not super fun. Sacks for both 2. Hits allowed. Packers 6, Giants 2. Yards lost on sacks. Packers 10, Giants 7. Hurries 8 and 6. Unblocked pressures. Oh my lord. Giants allowed 1 unblocked pressure. Packers 5. How do you allow 5 unblocked pressures? How does one do that? I don't understand. Finally, they got their initial PFF grades up here. Again, these are subject to change and probably will, but my goodness. Offense, and they're just showing like the top guys, and it's a mixture between the teams. The highest graded offensive player between the two teams, Jordan Love, 94 PFF grade. That dude saw Malik go out there and start playing well and was like, screw this. Give me that freaking ball. Some other potential good news, and we'll see how this ends. Second highest offensive player. Sorry again about the stupid microphone. I'll try to fix it in a second. We're almost done. Aaron Banks, 79.4. Followed by Christian Watson, 79. Number 4 is Tyrone Tracy of the Giants, and then Zach Tom, who unfortunately did go out in the game. But that's pretty fantastic, especially considering what the offense has been outputting. Like 2 guys in the low 70s. You got a 90 and 80 from a guy that's been not great. And again, with Banks, he was getting better and better and better. And he had 1 bad game, but he's back. I'm just saying it. Maybe there's something here. I don't know. Watson with another good game. Zach Tom with another good game. Defensively, highest graded player on either team, Micah Parsons with a 90.2. I know the stats are frustrating and all that, but PFF's watching it and is essentially saying this guy is just dominant all the time. Number 2, Keyshawn Nixon. Dropped interception, be damned. He had a good day, and he did have some really good plays out there. Number 3, interceptions not be damned, Evan Williams. Number 4 is Dexter Lawrence, which says a lot because he had a pretty good game, and he was at an 80. So we got 3 guys above that, which is wild. And then number 5 is Edgerrin Cooper. Again, really bad missed tackle on the one play, but I love to see that he's still, down to down, play to play, putting on a good performance. So we'll see again if these grades hold, and hopefully there's a lot more good out there. We only got down to 76. There's plenty of room for other 70s and high 60s to sneak in. So I'm very excited for tomorrow to be able to do our PFF day and report some good news for once. All right, let's take our first break. We'll be back. I want to kind of go through the roster here, and I don't know. We'll see. Maybe we'll do some game balls. I kind of already touched on it, but I think it's important that we highlight some people. I'm going to cheat a little bit now that I know a couple things that I maybe didn't know previously. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. All right, so the game ball section, I have unlimited game balls. I can give it as many as I want to whoever I want. It's just an opportunity to really highlight some people that made me happy. And I'm going over to our lads. I'm just going to go top to bottom. First of all, as much as I've always liked the guy, that is to say, since week 1 of his rookie season, my appreciation for him is skyrocketing, like legitimately. I started talking about it prior to this game about maybe we should try to see if we can push him more into a wide receiver 1 role. I know that that's more like fan jargon than actual schematic talk, but in whatever capacity that makes sense, Christian Watson has become not just one of the more explosive athletic guys. I mean, with his speed and all that, he's maybe, and Golden is up there too, although he just doesn't play for whatever friggin' reason, maybe our most reliable player. And I know he had a drop. It was a little bit outstretched, and, you know, it was a tough catch. He tried to, with one hand, pull it into his body. I really thought he was going to come down with that. You know, fine. But let's say won a game, there's some kind of I wish you'd have done that better. He is incredibly reliable. With his speed, with his size and physicality, I am very much a Christian Watson fan. I thought he was fantastic again in this game. I do not, and I like Romeo, he's a good dude and all that, but I just feel like there are guys that are kind of separating here. I think when you look at what we had in Tucker, when you look at what we've had in Jaden Reed, when you look at what we seem to have in Matthew Golden from a skill set standpoint, when you look at what we have in Christian Watson, I think these guys are all a tier above Romeo. I think Romeo does some good stuff, but then you add in the lack of reliability, and it's just a problem. And, you know, again, I don't want to do what I always chastise people for and try to oversimplify everything, but, you know, sometimes I look at these routes that Romeo's running, and it's like, could we have done that with Matthew Golden? Could we have just plugged him into that spot and had him run that route and let Jordan just launch it to him? Would it have not worked? Because again, Romeo seems to be doing a good job of route running and getting some decent separation and whatnot, but there's also times he can't and he doesn't, and then when he does, he's dropping too much. And man, if we could just try it a couple times just to see how it goes. Because when it comes to Golden, I mean, I really feel bad for him because his snap counts seem to be diminishing when the guy just goes out there and succeeds all the time. And maybe he's doing stuff on tape that is just annoying the hell out of this team, and Matt LaFleur's like, this guy's a freaking loser, and I don't want him out there. I don't know, but anyways, Christian Watson easily gets a game ball, 2 touchdowns. His touchdown reception from Malik was phenomenal. I love the throw. Underrated throw, for sure. But his strong hands, man, I mean, especially for a guy that coming in, his biggest issue early on was his hands. The guy was just dropping everything. This guy, I mean, you throw him a 50-50 ball, and I'm starting to think that's closer to 60-40 if you want to be more accurate. And again, you talk about his wingspan and his speed and how strong he is, which is an element I didn't really think of. But, I mean, he plays like a tight end out there, pushing, throwing his body weight around. Hey, this guy is a freaking weapon. And it's another one of those things where, man, if this offensive line could block, I really think there's more plays for Watson that are just not being exploited. Also, just I think it's also one of those, Jordan sees Dobbs open and throws it. And you should. You see a guy open for 6 yards on first down or whatever, or you see a guy across the sticks, just throw it. But I have a feeling you lift your eyes, Watson's out there somewhere running open. Big fan of that guy. So game ball for Watson. I can't give one to Golden. I'd like to. I mean, I could, and maybe I should. But I just feel sorry for him. I feel like every time he goes out there, he does a good job, but things just are not falling into place. Early in the season, the guy had basically 2 touchdowns. The balls were underthrown. He had arguably a touchdown in this game. The ball was underthrown. We got a big penalty out of it, which is great. But, what if there's a little more air under it? He runs under it and gets his touchdown. But again, it's underthrown. I'm guessing Jordan is struggling to gauge that level of speed. Huge play on a deep out route, which I feel like he's hit on a couple of those already. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with the Golden situation. I feel like as long as Romeo's out there, they're going to make him the X receiver. Christian obviously is going to be, your speed guy on the other side. And for some reason, they seem to like Wicks in the slot. I mean, at least put Golden in the slot, for crying out loud. I don't know. We'll check the we'll check the snap counts. I took a slight gander at it because I got it on here. Let's go back here. So Savion played 2 snaps, which is psychotic. Number one, because, and I don't mean to nitpick, the offense was looking good, but man, the guy's playing good football. Two snaps, and he had, his yards per route run are going to be like, what, 15, 16? That's assuming he ran a route on his other snap. Bo Melton with 2 snaps, and then Matthew Golden with 19. He was down there with Musgrave. He was outsnapped by Josh Wiley, who was also outsnapped, obviously, by Musgrave, which is kind of telling you something. Wicks, though, had 31 snaps. Romeo with 42, Watson with 43. So, again, that is kind of our trio. Obviously, you rotate out and do all that stuff, but it's Watson, it's Dobbs, and it's Wicks. And I get it, but also, I don't know. I'd like to hear from, and maybe they've asked. I don't know. And I know it's one of those you got to frame it properly to not get scolded by Matt LaFleur. But I would like to hear from LaFleur or Stenovich or somebody, like, what does Golden have to do? What is the biggest impetus, or whatever the word is, preventing Golden from being a bigger part of the offense? Is it himself? Is it just the guys in front of him are just so amazing? Give me a break. Is it like what exactly is the problem? I have to assume it's Golden. Not that, whether it's a good reason or not, but Matt LaFleur and Stenovich and the guys in charge of this clearly are looking at something and would rather have the other guys out there. And I guess I'm just curious what that would be. And again, I don't know how good of an answer you're going to get, because he's not going to want to throw Golden under the bus. But I would love to know the honest answer to that question. Like, what is he doing wrong? Just every time we see him, he's a stud. Since the offseason. He's so fast, his routes are so good, his hands are so good. Like, it's like Jordan underthrows him, and they're like, get Golden out of here. That freaking guy. Like, what did he do? I don't understand. I don't know. Anyway, you know what? Golden gets a game ball. He's getting one. Just because I can. Might as well also give one to Savion Williams. The guy was out there for 2 plays. One of them might have saved us the game. That was a critical down. Jordan's not seeing anybody. He sees Savion down there, and you got to fight to get on your quarterback's good side. He says, you know what, I'm giving that big boy down there a 50-50 shot, and he goes up and gets it. Possibly helps us win this game. There's always several moments in a game where you can look and say, I don't know if we win. If not for that, that was one of those moments. That was also probably the most fired up I've seen Jordan in several weeks. That dude was jacked. The team got fired up. That was a pivotal moment, and it felt like a little bit of a spark from an offense that just hasn't had it. So very big play from another guy that I think is very capable. Again, they're trying to take kick responsibility away from him. He's probably the best kick returner I've seen since Keyshawn, when he was doing very good for that 1 year. Savion just looks good at it. He looks natural at it. And he's another guy that I just feel like every time he touches the ball, he does a good job, and I just wish he was out there doing it more. And look, Wicks and Romeo are talented receivers. They're just dropping the freaking ball too much. But, it's kind of like I've said with the running back situation. Sometimes you just got to ride the hot hand. And if in a certain game, if it so happens that Emmanuel Wilson is a hot hand, don't be afraid to lean into it. I know it's Josh Jacobs. I know you paid him a bunch of money. I know the guy's a freak of nature. I know he's a more talented, gifted, intelligent, veteran presence at the running back position, but sometimes the other guy's just having a better day. Or year, in the case of Golden and Savion. But Savion gets a game ball. Offensive line, I struggle to give anyone a game ball. However, I'm going to preemptively give Aaron Banks a game ball. I can't speak to really anybody else. Zach Tomlin out with an injury. I suppose for that reason I should give some love to Kennard, but let's wait on that and see how that went. Sean Ryan absolutely does not. I know he's going up against a talented defensive tackle, but watching him just get thrown on his face, that tarnished it for me. Luke Musgrave owes all of us game balls. He needs to go buy game balls and distribute it to the entire fan base for what he's done. Might be the single sloppiest performance I've seen. I don't know if well, you know what it reminds me of? Who is that? What was his name? Starts with a B, I think. Running back. No, 7th rounder, I think, running back. I think it was the same year that we had Jones and Jamal. Who was that? I think it was Mays, Devontae Mays. It might not have been. I think there was another guy that was a UDFA that I liked, but I think it might have been Mays. But I remember I was a big fan of Mays. I really liked him. And he got his opportunity, and he it was 2 carries and 2 fumbles, and his career was over after that. That's about the only comparable thing that I can even think of to Musgrave getting the ball twice and fumbling it twice. 2 catches for -1 yard and 2 fumbles. Get out of my face with this nonsense, dude. In a day when everybody is just messing up and letting down the quarterback and the coach, for that matter. Crazy. All right. Jordan Love and Malik Willis both getting game balls. I think, again, Jordan Love's overall performance is probably going to be overshadowed a little bit in terms of, the cumulative numbers are not going to look as pretty as a lot of people, the box score watchers, would want. But I thought he came out and was pretty fantastic, doing what needs to be done. Again, I can't see what's all the way down the field, but the accuracy was on point. The composure in the pocket was on point. Very good job. Malik Willis, the guy just has a gift for coming out and transforming our offense into this thing that is such a beautiful thing to watch. It feels like a peak Matt LaFleur offense. We're stretching the field horizontally with our quarterback. He just does a fantastic job. So 2 game balls right there. What else? Defensive line didn't feel super overwhelming, but given the PFF thing, I'm just going to go ahead and give one preemptively to Micah. I'm going to assume he had a dominant game and give him his flowers. Although, let's be honest, he did have the 2 sacks. The game-winning sack. How do you not give a guy a game ball for that? So Micah closing out the game. The guy has been a game changer. I know, again, the box score watchers are going to say it's been an underwhelming thing. It has not been. If you look at the points that teams are putting up against us, Micah has a lot to do with that. Everybody just wants sacks. Just go get sacks. I want 3 sacks a game. You're not getting me sacks and all this nonsense. I promise you, he was probably just as impactful last week as this week. Even if it doesn't materialize as much in a given play, the fact of how offenses are playing, what they're conceding, what they're able to do, what they're not able to do, that's all because Micah Parsons just exists. It's just a matter of everything else working, like the offense putting up any amount of points. Got to do game ball Evan Williams. Got to pick. Got to do it. Even though I think he had a drop pick at some point. Maybe not. He's got to get one. And then finally, the white whale, wheeling and dealing, Mr. Daniel Waylon Jennings. Can do so much with that name, especially if you pronounce it correctly and incorrectly at the same time. The white whale is wheeling and dealing. You know what I'm saying? It just great game from our punter. Not only did he have the massive boomer of a punt with the wind at his back on that one particular play, but to close out this game, we needed a punt. They were selling out, trying to block it, and he needed to get something off. And not just anything. On one hand, you're looking at it and you're saying, hey, you just got to get it off quick so it doesn't get blocked. On the other hand, if it's a short punt or a shanked punt or anything, you're putting them well within range of a Hail Mary, clearly. But the closer it is, the scarier it gets, especially with, any amount of time. They might be able to run a couple plays. And he knocked that thing clean out of here, which is why, with all that extra distance, they needed more time to get down the field, which gave Micah more time to get to the quarterback and ultimately close this thing out. So the white whale, he does it again. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. Oh, jeez. I just turned on Red Zone because I saw that Dylan Gabriel's out for the game, and as soon as I turn it on, it's a pick. Yeah, let's see how the Young Bucks doing, man. It's an exciting time. Yep, there it goes. Okay, well, that was fun. I want the cameras to pan to the crowd now. Browns fans, just like every other fan base, is confident that there is a very easy solution because we have that solution just sitting on our bench, and the coaching staff is just too stupid to know what good and bad is. And if you just put in the good and get rid of the bad, then we'll win. And then, of course, Shedeur Sanders goes out and just throws a pick right away. So that's great. Oh, boy. Did the Browns just get the ball back right away? Anyways, all right. Anyways, let's get into some news. I mean, this just popped across my my timeline here, so we might as well start here. Josh Jacobs has a knee injury. Start with that. I wasn't even aware of that until this moment. It is not believed to be season-ending, but more tests will be done on Monday in Green Bay, per Rob Demovsky. Quote, I think anytime a player, especially of his magnitude, but anytime a player doesn't finish a game, you're always concerned about the welfare of them, says Packers coach Matt LaFleur. I don't know how much time we're going to even have because I want to get through. There's a lot here. I want to, well, one step at a time. What else we got? I'm just going to go backwards in time here as it comes up, you know. Packers, by the way, scored 27 points again. That's such a weird thing. This keeps happening. We have to win the Super Bowl. You know, with the whole 27, Jordan's 27, everybody wins Super Bowls at 27. Every game we're scoring 27. It's such a weird, freaky thing. The heck are the odds of that? And there goes Shedeur again for another big sack. Every time I look up and they're showing Cleveland, it's either a sack or a pick. Edge rusher Aaron Mosby, who went down, apparently it was a shoulder stinger. So there's that. Linebacker Quay Walker also said he suffered a stinger in his shoulder and recovered quickly. Said he was in intense discomfort after the hit he delivered, but was confident there was nothing long-term about his injury. LaFleur declined to say why he kept Malik Heath home, says he's looking forward to seeing Heath tomorrow. It's about as much detail as I think we all expected to get on that issue. The amount of comments I'm seeing saying Matt LaFleur called a fantastic game is hilarious. It's because we won. That's why. Unlike last week, this is the first week I've heard in a very long time that there's nobody open down the field. But this is the game that he called a good game. Okay, yeah, sure. The other games that we lost, he called a bad game. I see. I understand. If I'd known it was that easy to judge play calling. Jeez. Gee golly whiz. Matt LaFleur's press conference, I mean, outside of the stuff we already talked about, said he's extremely happy with the win. Says we don't win that game without Malik. Talking about how proud he is of Malik and what he did. Interestingly, they actually asked him directly, what are your thoughts about possibly putting Malik in for packages or whatever? I would have thought that would be just kind of dismissed by Matt LaFleur. He says it's certainly up for discussion. He says it's hard to want to take your quarterback off the field. He says they have had some of that in the past as far as game plans and whatnot, and maybe they'll see that come back. It's pretty interesting. I mean, it has to be enticing. We all see it. It's nothing. I know the anti-Jordan people are salivating. This isn't about that. Malik looks good. He can't do some of the stuff that Jordan can do, for sure, and that's why we're not advocating, most of us, for him being our starting quarterback. But he also can do stuff that Jordan absolutely can't, and he can stress defenses in ways that Jordan can't. And being able to do both of those things in a game, even if it's just a couple times with Malik, is a big benefit. If for no other reason than making your opponent game plan for two different quarterbacks. Asked how he thought Jordan did, he said he was gritty and tough, which... Again, I agree, and I know Matt LaFleur had made comments about that as far as getting him to feel comfortable, so I know that was an emphasis. And, you know, if we're going to talk crap about preparation and getting guys ready, in 1 week, Jordan came back looking solid. So quarterback coach, offensive coordinator, head coach, whoever you want to try to give credit to on top of Jordan himself, I'm just saying, if every little thing means the coaching staff failed, he came back looking right. And you know that it was an emphasis because they said it was the emphasis. But said he did a good job of just giving guys opportunities to make plays, which is obvious. The touchdown to Christian, the play to Savion. Many drops were in that category. But, it's one thing to be fearless and bad. And we've seen some of that from Jordan. I mean, we saw it in college. We've seen it some in the pros where he just doesn't care and is going to heave-ho it. But when you're fearless like Jordan is and suddenly your accuracy is through the roof and you're making smart decisions, you see some pretty magical stuff. What was going through your mind with the drops? Didn't really say much about it other than, guys just didn't make plays. Talking about Christian and the fact that he had drop problems and now he seems to be really on top of that. How much improvement have you seen from him? He says a ton, a lot. And he says he made 2 critical. Both of those touchdown catches were amazing catches by him, and that's absolutely true. Both of them were very contested, very difficult catches that I think if either of them had been dropped, I don't know that any of us would call them drops. In other words, if it ended up incomplete, I think we all look at that and go, yeah, it was a tough one. As for the McManus thing, he said he started to feel some tightness, and that was essentially the issue, which, again, is one of those things where the question always comes up with McManus, well, then why was he kicking before? What are you talking about? I don't understand that. Again, I don't want him kicking if he's hurt. That's what I've said. But why are we pretending that, he's been hurt this same amount the entire time, and now you're holding him out, which proves he was too hurt to play before? Why do you think you know that? You don't think it's possible that he had something come up? You don't think it's possible that he got worse, that there's additional tightness or soreness? I just, our craving to just use every little thing as an opportunity to prove our priors is crazy to me. Mentioned Savion. I mentioned how few snaps he had. He did talk about Savion, the fact that he's been battling through an ankle injury, so maybe that plays a little bit of a part in his limited role. But all the more impressive that he was able to make that play, knowing that he's kind of hobbled out there. And I think we're still talking about Savion. One of the guys said he walked off in a walking boot, walked off the bus. So Savion comes into the game with a boot and still ends up playing on our team. Crazy. Yeah, he says it's not every day you see your starting returner in a walking boot and expect him to go play in a game. That's wild, man. Gets you excited for Savion, though, doesn't it? Jordan Love also went to the podium. Jordan mentioned that they were playing a lot of man coverage. So he said, there's a lot of one-on-one opportunities for guys, just got to go out and win, and that's where, you get back to he just needed to give guys opportunities, and he did. And, in instances where there weren't drops, guys were coming up and making plays. But specifically, this was more about Savion and the fact that he hadn't even been playing a ton. Scramble drill, he's got to beat his man. Just what a really incredible play by Savion for every possible reason. Jordan talking about his shoulder, says it's tough, went in, got evaluated, figured it was good enough to come back in, came back in, but definitely not fun. He said it's a small injury. We'll reevaluate it when we get back, look at it, see what's going on, but yeah, it's not fun. So he's obviously in pain. He said, I got it x-rayed, got it taped up. He said it happened on the hit, lowered my shoulder, he gave me a good pop. He said he felt it right away. Played a Christian, he says same thing, it was one-on-one coverage. Christian running a slot fade, gave him a jump ball, he went up, made a big-time catch. Christian actually talked about it and said that that was like the 4th time they called that. They were actually trying to get man-to-man coverage on that play, and they just weren't really getting the call that they wanted, and finally they got it. And again, it's a testament to this group and to Jordan and whatnot to trust it, because it's easy, and I could certainly see in that situation looking at it and saying, yeah, we got the call we want, but I'm not throwing that. He's not open. Not that you really get open in that spot, but it's really just a trust thing. We know in this, but we're trying to get it. We're trying to make this call in hopes that we get this. If we get it, I'm throwing it, and that's it. Saw it, boom, threw it, and it was just up to Christian to make an incredible play, and he did. So, again, as much as we complain, and rightly so, about some of the guys not stepping up and not making plays and just being sloppy and this stuff needs to stop and all that, let's not forget that Jordan is out there playing really good football. Christian is out there playing really good football. Savion did some really heroic stuff. We had a backup quarterback come in and do incredible things to keep us in this game. We had a backup running back, or our number 2, or whatever you want to call him, come in absence and step up. We had Wiley, who I should have given a game ball to also. I was too busy trashing Musgrave to remember there were other guys on our team. But yeah, Wiley comes in, gets his first touchdown, I believe, of his career, helping to fill in for, obviously, Tucker Kraft being out, which is an impossible task. So we did have a lot of guys step up, even though, we had some kind of continuing the slop fest that we've seen over the last couple weeks. And I tell you what, I don't know that we've done this in a little while, but since it is Victory Monday, why don't we go ahead and do this? Here is the locker room jubilation after the Packers' victory.
We came into this game and said, whatever the it takes. It took all 60 minutes, and we found a way, and that's all that matters. Give it up for yourself. Give it up for yourself. Adversity. It hits every week in this league, man. It hits every week. All three phases, we made enough plays to get the dub, and it ain't easy winning this league. So I got 3 game balls. First of all, this guy came and made 2 monster touchdown catches. Oh, yeah. He had 4 for 46.
I don't got much for y'all, man. I just want to say appreciate it to everybody in here, man. Let's keep going.
If you need somebody to flip the field, give it up for Daniel Wade.
I appreciate y'all boys. I mean, it's been a long road. We got a long way to go, so let's keep it up. Appreciate it.
And finally, last but not least, when we needed a takeaway, we got it.
I ain't got nothing to say, man. Y'all the reason I show up every day, give it all I got. I mean, it's always love for y'all. Let's keep going. It's a long road. We got to keep going.
Last thing I'm going to leave you with is this. Understand what we have in front of us next week. We have a division game. So let's get back to work. We'll get back to work tomorrow. Enjoy tonight. And on to the Vikings.
Back on 3. 1, 2, 3. All right.
Inside my head, a turf I like to shred. You don't know the pressure. What if we stay dead? A streak inside my veins, another kind of chains. You don't know the torture. We're so blind, blind, blind. We're so blind, blind. Feel the snap, the break, the roar. Giants crashing to the floor. Love's armor, cannon fire. 2 TDs, we climb higher. This pain we couldn't see. Losing skid, it blinded me. But now we rise, we crush, we fight. 27-20 on the night.